All right, guys, just want to do a quick video on all the travel gear that I take. I find this to be my personal favorite way to travel internationally, like I did on this last hunt, which is getting back from New Zealand. And then this method right here, I've found to just kind of be like the simplest form to travel internationally, or to hop on a plane to travel with hunting gear and just making sure that I have all my gear. So on this table right now, I have all the gear that I took to New Zealand. We had to hop on several different planes to get to New Zealand, including one from Las Vegas to Los Angeles to Auckland, New Zealand, and then Auckland to Christchurch, New Zealand. So I'm gonna give you guys a rundown of how I pack these bags and why I think this is the best method for traveling internationally on hunts. First, to start things off, I got my Yeti Panga. This is the 100 duffel bag. And in this bag, really most of the things that I'm focused about carrying are gonna be my backpack, food, and boots. So right now, in this bag, that's exactly what I have. I also have just different MISC gear that I might need to carry in this pack. And then again, in this bag, since it's gonna be checked and it's gonna be all the way in New Zealand, is gonna be the time that I see this bag. I don't really care about anything that's in here. Like I know it's gear that can be kind of tossed around, and it's not gonna be any gear that I'm gonna need while on the plane, of course. So just make sure you're planning accordingly when you do that. But kind of just going through this bag, I got some puffy gear, some food, a backpack that you can see in here, some boots, some more food. One of the biggest reasons why I like traveling like this is because, I've often been told like you could use your, your hunting bag and throw all the stuff in there and then just ship it that way. But I don't really want to deal with all the buckles that are on my hunting bag getting snatched in the airport, getting torn apart. I think a lot of the times, unfortunately, like the people who are loading the airplanes don't really care about your gear. They obviously just want to throw it on and make sure it gets there. So I find the Yeti Panga 100 a perfect method to throw my pack. That's often got a frame. In here I got a Kafaru Absaroka bag, which is a giant bag. So in here my frame's protected, all my buckles are protected, and then I also have gear that I care about, but I don't care that it's getting tossed around and banged up, like boots and puffy gear and food in here. And then quickly, before I get this bag off the table, one other reason why I like this bag, it's waterproof, it's puncture resistant. A lot of times we're getting off these planes and we're going straight to hunting or straight to a 6-hour drive to get to the location to start a hunt. I could just throw this bag in the back of a truck and be perfectly fine and have the peace of mind that my gear is going to be protected from weather and that this bag doesn't have to take up space in a cab. And then one more thing that I always do to my bags is, since a lot of time we're traveling together with a bunch of the guys, we often have the same gear. So I just, take some cord here, just label my bag, and then that way I know it's my Panga if anyone else has the same one. I know a lot of guys will write on Sharpie their name, their address, their phone number. So that's kind of what I do for mine, just keep it separated from the others. I kind of follow that with all my other packs that you'll see, my bags that I carry with me, just to kind of differential my packs from all the other ones. Next, I got the Crossroads 29 checked bag from Yeti. Again, I think this is the perfect checked bag to use for traveling, and I'll tell you why, and I will show you why here in a little bit. But I'm just very excited with this bag. Traveling to New Zealand on this last hunt made things very easy. In here, I'll have kind of different gear that I want protected. And then also there's just like a lot of space for storage in this bag. And then I think another perk about this, it has wheels. It's got these reinforced bottoms. You can kind of carry this from any different angle. I'm very impressed with this bag, and I love it a lot for traveling. It's also, in my opinion, like compact enough so you could get the gear that you need in here, but it's also not this giant bag that is like a garage on wheels, which oftentimes kind of annoys me. I think the better I could get my space more confined and more operational, I'm just personally more excited to travel with that gear. Let me open this bad boy up and I'll kind of get to some of the gear that I carry in here. All right, first of all, it opens up very nicely. So you have a lot of different organization possibilities that you have in here. You got zippered pouches from this top lid right here. A lot of times you could use that for underwear, socks, gloves, different hunting equipment, different hunting gear. So that could go in there. That's kind of what I utilize these pouches here too. Again, on the front, I put some down boots in there. Then in this lower bag right here, I have some water organization. And then getting into the meat and the potatoes of this bag, kind of open this up, and I've got just a bunch of gear organized in here, protected from, you know, just getting beat up in the airport, traveling, flying. So I got things like, you know, a hat, my sleeping bag, my quiver for my bow, different gear that goes inside my pack. So medical equipment, electrical gear that goes in here. One thing that I will also just like advise on and be careful of is just make sure your batteries are on your carry-on. So you'll see here later on this video, that's why I have the carry-on backpack, so I can have batteries and a special piece of gear that I don't want messed with on me at all times. So make sure you take your battery packs, throw it in your backpack. Got Jetboil, camping equipment, tarps, water bottles, solar panels, literally everything that I want to carry in this pack that I find is protected from getting damaged and all that type of stuff. Another thing that I want to note is oftentimes when I'm getting ready to go on an international hunt, I will start getting my gear, organizing it on the ground in my garage, and it kind of just like lives on the garage in like an organized manner until I actually get ready to pack it up. And I'll have a Excel spreadsheet of just everything that I'm going to take on the hunt. Check it twice. When it finally comes to packing that specific item in my bags, I will make sure to check it off. That way I just know everything's made it into the bag. And I find that way I don't have like the mid-flight freak out. It's like, did I take that piece of gear, or am I gonna have to, you know, go without it? So I don't know. That's just kind of like one of the tips that I really like to tell others that are traveling. It sucks to get to a trailhead in a different country and realize that you don't have your quiver or something. Utilize a spreadsheet to get all your gear organized, so you can just check it off. Make sure that when you get to your destination, you got everything, and all you got to worry about is the hunt. Next is the Yeti Crossroads backpack. Nifty little backpack. This is actually like my everyday to use for work. Carry my laptop in here, different camera gear, pens, all that kind of stuff that I might need. Again, just beautiful organization. I got a sleeve here for my back for my laptop, so I can throw my laptop in there. Different pieces of paper that I might need, documentation forms or anything like that. It's also got like very neat zipper organization. So, you know, you got front space here for batteries if you need. And then my favorite organization gear on this pack is actually this kind of top storage area. And this is where I'll carry my passport, some batteries, and then also I keep this little foam roller so I could roll out my feet. You're spending a lot of time either like on a chair or standing, and not to get too personal, but I got plantar fasciitis, so I like to like roll out my feet when I get a second, because I find that I hunt better if that's the case. So, and then in here I carry a piece of gear that is important to me, which is my bino harness and my optics. So I have the 6-hour Zulu 6s for this hunt, and then my rangefinder in here also too, my 4K from 6 Hour. So I just keep that in here, as well as any other camera gear or cameras that I kind of just want on my personal self as I'm traveling through the airport. We'll of course get a water bottle, throw that in here, maybe some snacks, and then just kind of carry that with me on the plane. And then also to try to keep it as light as possible, so that traveling through the airport, there's not a heavy backpack on me. And that way I find that I'm not losing stuff or just messing with a bunch of stuff while on the airplane. Mostly it's just the essentials: backpack, optics, passport, that kind of stuff. And then finally, you need a means to transport your weapon. Prior to this hunt, I actually did not have a bow case. I was the guy that was borrowing bow cases from different guys in the office. I finally bit the bullet and bought this Pelican Air 1745 bow case, and I'm actually in love with it. And I would recommend anyone who's on the market for a bow case to deeply consider this one. And I'll tell you why. A couple things for that is your weight limit on a plane for a checked bag is 52 pounds, 50 pounds. So why not use that? I know that the bow case and my bow in here aren't that amount. What I like to do is actually throw my bow in here and then stuff clothes and potentially different gear that I might need on the hunt into this bow case. And then, you know, I'm trusting this case with my bow. and I'm gonna trust my gear in this case too. So I'm gonna just open up this bow case and quickly show you guys what it looks like and some of the features that I like about this. Quickly, just starting off with one of the features, it's got the built-in TSA locks already on here. So even though you don't need locks for a bow, it's nice to have the TSA locks, and if a TSA agent wants to get in here, he could open it with his key. I would recommend, potentially if you want, just to have the peace of mind carrying extra set of locks on you and locking it that way, just so no one's messing with it. But me personally, I don't think TSA is gonna mess too much with my bow, and I also don't mind them being the ones digging in here, just because if they can't dig in there, they're gonna probably call me off the plane. Let me just open this case real quick. Boom. So this is the inside. I've got a spot right here where I could lay my bow. Like I said, I really love putting extra clothes in here. Most of the times, the way I use this bow case is I'll put my bow, my stabilizers, take off my sight, put in one of these pockets, and then I'll actually put in extra just like street clothes in this bow case. Oftentimes I like to, get to a spot, have a change of clothes, shower up, get freshened up, and then maybe go on a run or something like that. So I like to just carry extra clothes in here for traveling, maybe an extra jacket, extra hoodie, you never know. Again, if you have the space and the weight and you're already paying for that check bag, I always want to use that. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, you could put a trekking pole, extra arrows in here. So in my opinion, I really fell in love with the bow case once I figured out I could kind of use it for more than it was designed for. And then I also just love the organization of the bow case. Have zippers here where you can put a sight. Pouches here. Got extra Allen wrench. Got a silver Sharpie. And then oftentimes I'll just put my broadheads in there. So I got it all in one spot. I could put my arrows here. So fits up to 6 arrows right here, where I could get another arrow container to carry more arrows if I want, which is what I did on the last trip to New Zealand. And then I got another zippered pouch up there for any more organization that I might need. Carry, extra sight tapes, all that kind of stuff. So when I'm traveling, I want to make sure that I'm traveling with everything, but I might also travel with gear that I might need in case of a potential disaster, which oftentimes we don't want that to be the case, but just want to have that peace of mind when I'm traveling so far to get to a hunt. All right, so there we go. That's the way I like to travel for international hunts or just hunts where I have to hop on an airplane. And two, a lot of times when I'm even hunting locally in the States, I like to already pack my bag and then just make sure everything's ready to go before hitting the trail, just so I can make sure mentally all I'm thinking about is getting to the destination and my pack's ready to go. Personally, I like to stay organized and, just make sure I have everything. So that's kind of my method to the madness when it comes traveling internationally. But I'm curious, if you guys have found a better method or if you guys got products you recommend, drop in the comments below or ask me any questions you might have. I'm actually very proud in this method that I've developed, probably not discovering anything new. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and drop your comments down below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and yeah.